We are proposing that the Metrodome be transferred and that ownership be transferred to the Minnesota Vikings, and it would be free. But they are expected to sign a 25-year contract to stay here in Minnesota and to put the facility on the commercial property tax rolls. So in effect, it would become a tax-paying property, paying about $1.67 million a year. Those numbers work out rather interestingly because we have learned that the city assessor in Minneapolis values the property at just under $42 million. And so over the course of 25 years of playing in Minnesota and paying property taxes on the facility, the residents of Minnesota would get their money back, essentially. Another feature of the proposal is that the Metropolitan Sports Facilities Commission would cease to operate. So the Vikings would become the operating authority, that they would have rights to all of the profits made in the stadium, and obviously those could help pay for the operating costs. We have a little provision that would say that other municipalities would not be able to use public funds to attempt to lure them to their own area for a publicly funded stadium. And so that's really the guts of the proposal. As we say, we believe it's a very serious offer. It should be on the table. And why is that true? We're looking at the economy today being very different. We have a legislature that in makeup is very different. I think you're seeing sort of a different mindset when it comes to building billion-dollar stadiums around the country.
Despite their attempt to make this sound like a run-of-the-mill stadium deal, this would be the largest taxpayer subsidy of any sports team in history, period. At a time when we've got a recession, a struggling economy, they're asking Minnesotans to pay more than any other community has for a pro sports team. At a time when everyone in the political spectrum, from the Tea Party to the Occupy Wall Street people, are angry about corporate subsidies, they're proposing the #1 largest corporate subsidy for any sports team ever. Question why there's such an urgency on this now? And we've been debating this for 10 years. 2-3 years from now, my projection is we'll be debating it still.
You don't believe they'll be in Los Angeles?
Tom, the Vikings responded. I think it was Jeff Anderson said this proposal was a non-starter. They're the ones who proposed the largest taxpayer bailout of any sports team in history at a time of recession, and they're saying this is a non-starter? And you know something? People change their minds. Non-starter? Last week, Christian Ponder was a non-starter. It didn't work for him, so they're switching, and he's a starter now. We're saying we're giving you another alternative. We're open to whatever.
To answer that question, though, will they move to Los Angeles if there's no stadium?
Well, first of all, Ziggy Wilf, if I can hang on, the one flyer, we have some of his quotes on this, because he's made it clear. I mean, the only reason this debate is here is because there's some politicians and others who say he's going to lie. He said, and this is a direct quote, he said, "From day one, I've promised I would keep the team here in Minnesota forever." When asked whether he plans to keep the team in Minnesota, whether we have a new stadium or not, "Yes, I've stated that from day one." And he adds, "All I can tell you is this, that I live by my commitment."